Vegas DJ.
What's up, GM, everybody? This is Dr. Josh. I'm here, Crypto Mondays Green. We have a very, very exciting episode today. First of all, I'd like to introduce our fake surprise co-host. As you know, we have a surprise co-host on our show, Crypto Mondays Green. It's all about sustainability. And we have El Capitan himself, Ronaldo, here. Hey, ¿qué pasa, man? How's it going, Ronaldo?
I was going fantastic.
Hey, we were just wondering because we also, in our show, we like to do fake sponsors. So our first fake sponsor is Coke Zero. Ronaldo, would you like some Coke?
I would like some water, please.
Water? But Ronaldo, this is Crypto Mondays Green and it's sustainability, and we really like to support sustainable initiatives, and this is made with recycled plastic. Wow. And can I remind you that there's zero sugar in Coke Zero? Are you sure, Ronaldo, that you just want agua?
No, I'll change my mind.
Oh, look at this. We've been able not only to get Ronaldo on a Crypto Mondays Green, but we've also been able to convince him to drink Coke and destroy his body. But help the environment with recycled plastic. Okay, all right, excellent. No, that's just a joke, guys. Everybody, what's up? I'm actually here with Alex. You can go ahead and take it off. Ronaldo decided to decline our invitation as surprise co-host, unfortunately. He's too busy in Saudi Arabia. But you know what we do have? We do have an amazing surprise co-host today. Let me introduce Todd Chapman. And Todd Chapman is the former ambassador to Brazil and to Ecuador of the United States. So that's who we have today, super surprise co-host. All right, and say what's up? Good, okay, everybody. And now Todd is here to help me because he's an expert not only in political affairs, international political affairs related to South America, Latin America, and particularly Brazil, but he also is a surfer. And we're going to show you a video right now of what Todd has done for the environment, because he cares a lot about the environment and he's willing to go the extra step. So we're going to show you right now, introduce Todd with the video. Here we see Ambassador Chapman auditioning for his career as a surfer to save the environment. Wipe out. Okay, and so here. So not only, so why do we, so how could it that us in the crypto world, blockchain world, could get a man like Todd Chapman to come on our Crypto Mondays Green show? Because he cares deeply about environment, about sustainability, and about positive solutions that are in the private sector as well, because a lot of people talk about NGOs and how ESGs. He's here to discuss the hard questions with one of Brazil's most famous and most important people. And this is Maria Teresa. And Maria Teresa is the head of BMW. And BMW is an organization that I'm going to let her explain what it does, but it uses tokenization. It uses, they're using ideas of conservation and ideas that are going to blow your mind, because this is not carbon credits, ladies and gentlemen. This is something much, much bigger, and we're talking about the serious issues today. And so I've met her on her way to Portugal. We're in Lisbon, Portugal. I'll explain in a second where we're at and the significance of our location. But I met her after she just received the United Nations Ambassador of Peace Prize. Okay, so not only do we have Todd Chapman here, former U.S. Ambassador to Brazil, but we have the United Nations Ambassador of Peace, and she's here to talk about blockchain and its significance in her initiative, BMV, the UCS coin, and how we're going to save the environment and also help people on the ground at every stage of society. I'm super excited here, but I'd like to actually take 1 second to also introduce our interpreter, who's amazing, but he's not only an interpreter, Alex. And again, you can, I'll put everybody's information in the description so you can contact everybody. But Alex is actually Maria Teresa's son, and he's an artist and many other things. interpreter, representative for sustainability and growth, but he's an artist, and he is part of an artist collective here in Lisbon, Portugal. That's why we obviously had Ronaldo here. And we are sitting in his studio right now, and he helps refugees and refugee artists have a space in society so they have meaning and they have the opportunity to share and build their career through art. He's going to be also on CryptoMondays, our huge event here in Lisbon for Web Summit tomorrow night. We're going to have artists there to support human-centric ecosystems, which is the theme of CryptoMondays Lisbon tomorrow night. So excited to have not only Maria Teresa and Todd, but also Alex here, our artist, and in his studio. And guys, I have a nice little story that right now is his mom's first time in this studio. She's come all the way from Brazil, and look at this. She's so passionate about this. She's in her son's studio. This is a meaningful event. And I'm wearing this t-shirt here for the refugees because it's the heart. It's the heart. They made a heart of all the different principles and ideas that come together through these artists from all over the world and how they work together to build this new ecosystem of change. Now, what she's been doing is also an ecosystem of change. And, you know, we in the crypto world, we don't really get along with the banks too well. And yet, Maria Teresa is a former banker, but she's also taken on the banks. Mano a mano, face to face. She's faced them down. Satoshi Nakamoto didn't do that, but she did. All right, so that's my long introduction, and we will have a real fake sponsor later. Coca-Cola is not sponsoring us, but we are sponsored in part by Baum Buddy, which is a reforestation project based out of Austria. And we'd like to welcome Baum Buddy as a character to jump through the screen right now, because we love to plant trees. And if you want to see our previous Crypto Mondays green, you'll see us with the sound of music and Baum Buddy. All right, let's get started. Todd, love having you here.
Thank you so much, Josh. What a privilege it is to be on Crypto Mondays, Crypto Monday Green, and to be here, even though I don't have the really cool sunglasses. But that's going to be my objective next time, is to have the cool sunglasses. So just so you know, that's what I'm going to do next time.
Okay, next time, definitely. And then we'll have a pair delivered to you right there in Denver, because we have Crypto Mondays Denver.
Okay, and I'm going to go to Crypto Mondays Denver the next chance I get. But hey, it's a real pleasure to be with you. It's great to be here with Alex and Maria Teresa. They're doing amazing things in Brazil. As you said, I had the privilege of being in Brazil as U.S. ambassador. I also lived 13 years of my life in Brazil, growing up there as a kid and working there several times. It's an amazing country, and they're doing amazing things. And I think one of the amazing things they're doing is doing innovative things to protect the environment. And leading that charge is Maria Teresa and her amazing group at BMV. So I'm proud to be a co-host with you today, and thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to let you start, because you know Brazil, you know the issues there firsthand. You've had to negotiate billion-dollar deals. You've had to negotiate with hard people, the hardest people on the planet. You've had to go through several presidents, starting even from Barack Obama. You've gone through Trump. You've gone through all of these guys, Biden. And so you know all the complexities here, and you said that this lady's amazing. I want to let you start off the questioning yourself, and you just take the lead, sir.
Very good. Well, thank you, Josh. Yes, you know, the environmental question is such a complex one. And everybody, you know, many people want to do the right thing, but it's figuring out how to make it pragmatic, how to make it really be something that people can generate their livelihood from, and how protecting the trees gives you more money than cutting down the trees. This is kind of a basic fundamental question in Brazil. And Maria Teresa has come up with some amazing ways to help landowners monetize. So I think first thing we should ask Maria Teresa, and first of all, great to see you again. And just wanted to know, as Josh said, bankers aren't always the greatest friends of the environment. So tell us, how did you go from being a banker to an environmental entrepreneur?
Bom, Todd, olha, eu quero agradecer
I would
aqui
really
o
like to
convite do Josh
thank Josh for his invitation to be here today.
e dizer que
And
não
to
é
say that
fácil
it is not
falar
easy
na frente
to
de uma das pessoas de grande relevância no mundo como você,
to someone
Todd.
who's of the greatest importance in the world, like you are, Todd.
Então, para mim, responder essas
For me
perguntas
to answer these questions,
é uma satisfação
it's very
e
satisfactory.
um desafio.
And it's a big challenge.
Ainda mais, nós temos
Especially-
uma expressão que a gente chama assim, cutucar a onça com a vara curta.
We have an expression in Brazil that can be translated as poking a jaguar with a short stick.
E falar em bancos
And speaking about banks,
e falar que é uma transformação,
and to say
uma
that we are
proposta de
proposing a
transformação
transformation
das relações de bancos
of the relationships with banks
com o setor produtivo,
and between banks and the productive sector,
nunca é tão simples.
it's never a simple task to do.
Mas a nossa proposta foi
However,
de
our proposal is to
conciliar. E até essa semana foi foi muito
this week has been
emocionante,
a quite emotional one.
porque eu não sabia
I didn't know,
e nós
and then
recebemos, e eu recebi
I have received this award.
uma comenda, né, como embaixadora por uma instituição ligada ao
So I was declared ambassador of peace by an institution that's linked to the UN.
como embaixadora da paz.
It's ambassador for peace with the Universal Peace Federation
Em uma solenidade na ONU.
in an event that happened in the UN headquarters.
Então, a nossa proposta
So,
para
our
os
proposal
bancos
for
é
banks
essa, de paz do setor produtivo,
Would be to use peace as an instrument in the productive sector as well,
que é os bancos financiarem empresas
so that banks can fund companies
que estão comprometidas, estão utilizando
committed and using
o produto da conservação da
a product that comes
floresta.
from forest conservation.
Então, isso é uma
So,
forma
this is a form-
pragmática
A pragmatic way.
e objetiva de financiar
Is an objective and pragmatic way to fund
empresas e pessoas que conservam a natureza por meio do ativo da conservação da natureza.
companies and individuals that are working to protect the forest through this instrument.
Então essa foi o modelo que nós trouxemos aí para os bancos.
So this is the model that we have brought and put together so that banks can also work with us.
Financie empresas que têm o selo de quem conserva a natureza.
Bring funding to companies that, for companies that are sponsoring and helping people that are protecting the forest.
Well, that's great. You know, I remember when I first heard about this, what seemed so interesting was a concept that you developed, which you call the fourth harvest. That in Brazil, the farms have three harvests. They have the first and second harvest, and then a smaller harvest. But you developed this concept that the fourth harvest is the environmental benefit produced by the untouched land that these farmers are conserving, and that is a harvest, that is something that is being produced that could be monetized. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your vision about landholders producing this so-called fourth harvest?
Porque os produtores, principalmente no modelo do Brasil,
In the Brazilian model specifically,
os produtores têm áreas de conservação
landowners are obliged to have a conservation area in their private lands,
junto de áreas de produção de alimentos,
as well
energia.
as their open areas to produce food, produce energy, or whatever other production that they are involved in.
E as áreas de conservação nunca remunerava quem conservava.
So these conservation areas, even though they are mandatory, they will never see any payment for the service that they are delivering there.
E foi isso, e nós criamos a forma com tecnologia, ciência.
So what we have created is to create a formula using science, using technology,
Que transforma o benefício desta floresta conservada em um ativo
that transforms these benefits of the protected forest into an asset that
que as empresas adquirem como responsabilidade social, ambiental
social responsibility factors
e a governança dos seus impactos ambientais.
And also when it comes to governance and in regard to their environmental impact.
Então nós criamos um protocolo científico.
So we have created a scientific protocol
que materializa a produção da Unidade de Crédito e Sustentabilidade, UCS.
That is the concrete form of the benefits of the Sustainability Credit Unit.
E as UCS são compradas por empresas e pessoas como forma de investir junto com o produtor nas áreas de floresta.
Landowners in the forest areas.
Então ele passou a ter a quarta safra, né?
So that means this is the fourth harvest.
Ao longo do ano.
Throughout the year.
E uma das safras é o fruto da conservação da floresta.
One of those harvests will be the fruit of the conservation of the forest.
Oh, wow. Okay. I heard fourth harvest. I like that. I was following you there. I'm following the fourth harvest, which is environmental impact. But then I think we're going to have to call in a character, one of our characters that helps us along with the show, Elephant Turd, because the only thing bigger in the jungle than bullshit is Elephant Turd. And I just heard something that makes me think about Elephant Turd. It's called ESG. I keep hearing about ESGs. Now, fourth harvest I can follow, but ESG and investing in the environment makes us in crypto feel a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I can trust that. That sounds like a corporate takeover to me. So I'm wondering about ESG and what it relates to your project, the idea that is this only going to benefit the big guy, or because what we think is that the ESGs, or one perspective is that the ESGs are going to kill the little guy because of overregulation. So I'm wondering about how this fits in with ESGs and actually benefits those people that are living in those areas and the forests that would be affected.
A proposta do BMV foi formar grupos de produtores rurais,
of landowners and rural producers,
onde tem o pequenininho,
in which we have small producers,
como
small landowners,
grandes produtores,
as well as the owners of large pieces of land.
E quando eles estão juntos, eles têm condição de produzir a
UCS as it stands.
Coisas que se o pequeno tivesse isolado, ele não conseguiria.
Because if the small landowner is isolated, they would never be able to achieve the scale that's necessary for this.
Então, de um lado,
so from one side,
nas regiões nós formamos grupos de produtores com suas áreas.
Groups of producers together with their own lands.
Eles têm áreas de florestas e áreas de produção.
So they have separate areas for protection and for production.
E com a produção de alimentos, junto com a produção da conservação da natureza, o BMV fornece uma plataforma.
BMV supplies them with this platform.
Como se fosse um armazém para ele guardar essas UCS em blockchain.
That is the digital form of a storage facility for regular agricultural products.
Wait a second, just a second. You mean, and I want you to follow up on your ESG question if you have one, but about UCS. Just break it down. We have to, before we go further, we have to break down what is UCS because they mentioned blockchain, and I think that UCS is a token. So I'm going to bring in our helper here, Gatorade. Gatorade helps take complex topics and chomp them down into bite-sized bits so we can digest them easier. And so here comes Gatorade. Explain to us what UCS is. Is it a token? Credit.
É utility token.
It's an utility token.
A floresta está de pé,
so once the forest standing and it's a healthy forest.
Com os bichinhos andando.
With the fauna and the flora there.
A vegetação.
Yeah, flora and native vegetation.
E essa integração deles produz benefícios.
And once all these elements are integrated, there are benefits that are produced for this.
No mínimo 27 serviços ecossistêmicos.
At least 27 ecosystemic services. That's the ones that we identify, but there are more.
27 services
delivered by the forest.
And this is that fourth.
Isso que é a quarta.
Not fourth industrial revolution.
The fourth harvest.
The fourth harvest consists of these 27 elements. And UCS, the token, is backed up by these elements.
Ela é apoiada por esses elementos, ela é composta por esses elementos.
Exato.
Exactly.
Ela representa
the UCS represents.
Graças ao blockchain foi possível
it is possible to
dar consistência,
to give consistency,
e comprovar cientificamente
and to prove scientifically
que aquela floresta viva,
that living forest at that time,
quando avaliada cientificamente com protocolos científicos,
as it was processed through scientific protocols,
aí a gente sabe exatamente,
we know
aproximado,
more or less exactly,
fluxo de água,
the hydric flow that this piece of land is responsible for,
os elementos naturais,
the natural elements and resources that are available in that land,
quanto de estoque de carbono,
so what's the actual carbon storage of those trees that are there,
a fauna, se você tem a cabeça da cadeia alimentar,
so, and if you see if the apex predators of the local fauna are thriving in this area as well.
Cobertura do solo.
If the soil is properly covered with vegetation.
Que evita a emissão.
Because that also stores carbon. So
eu não vou dizer todos os 27 serviços ecossistêmicos,
all the 27.
Falando.
I won't ask you, but basically, Bitcoin is built on energy.
Ela é baseada em energia.
And that energy demonstrates
e essa energia demonstra
its value because that energy costs something.
A energia custa alguma coisa.
So what you're saying is basically this is like a Bitcoin of the environment where instead of basically using energy, we're conserving energy.
Nós estamos conservando energia.
And that's the asset backing.
Isso que apoia o ativo.
Exatamente.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I got it.
Eu acho que eu entendi.
Sir?
Good. Well, Maria Teresa, that's great. You're taking the environmental issue and making it about conservation, not about carbon credits and offsets. So you're really bringing a new vision. Now, the one thing that people always worry about is greenwashing. And I sense Mr. Elephant Turd might be making an entrance at this point. You know, and greenwashing is a problem globally because people are taking advantage. But tell me about what you have done to provide security to the person who is investing in this asset. I understand you have a relationship with one of the largest Swiss companies in the world called SGS that provides certification to the science that you are attaching to this conservation asset. But could you tell us a little bit about how you're combating this concept of greenwashing and the kind of surety that you're bringing to your conservation credit?
E essa foi a nossa proposta de realmente solucionar esta dor para o lado das empresas.
From the get-go, our purpose was to solve this from the company's perspective.
Quando uma empresa está adquirindo a UCS,
when a company purchases UCSs,
ela está trabalhando com o produtor, quem está na área.
They are working alongside with the landowners that are working in the forest.
Para produzir o benefício.
In order to produce the benefits that are represented by the UCS itself.
Então, a empresa que está investindo na UCS.
So, a company that invests in UCS.
Ele está investindo com o produtor rural.
They are investing alongside with the rural producer.
É como se fosse uma parceria rural.
It's a rural partnership of sorts.
A empresa entra com uma parte, com o compromisso de entregar para a sociedade.
So the company joins in with the commitment to delivering those ecosystemic services to society.
E o produtor entra para conservar a área. Então,
will protect his own area. So
é uma parceria. Um conserva
it is a partnership in
e o
which
outro
one side
entrega
is
para a sociedade.
And the other one's delivering to society.
E como a empresa está com a rastreabilidade em função de blockchain,
the company has access to full traceability due to blockchain.
Nós ainda todo esse processo, desde a aplicação do protocolo,
so for the whole process from
a carteira do produtor,
application of the protocol to the creation of the wallet of the producer,
e a empresa que adquire isto,
the company that will ultimately buy it,
para como sendo a parte dela de investir na responsabilidade socioambiental,
as part of their role in investing in their social and environmental responsibility.
Ainda temos uma auditoria do nível da SGS.
We bring in such a high-level company as SGS to do the auditing of the entire process.
Que verifica de ponta a ponta. Para que o investidor e os clientes do investidor tenham tranquilidade do que eles estão adquirindo.
They can feel reassured of what they are buying.
Eles sabem de onde é a terra.
They know where the land is located.
Quem é que está trabalhando na terra?
Who is the person working there year by year?
Isto tudo atestado pela SGS.
And this is all audited and certified by SGS.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really the innovation here, Josh, for you to look at with your community, because what I faced as ambassador in Brazil was many large companies wishing to put a lot of money into environmental protection. They couldn't trust the people they were giving the money to. They couldn't figure out who would guarantee that what was going to be, that was said was going to be done, was actually done. And that's the whole problem with greenwashing, is you find these scandals out there, some shyster taking money and not doing what they said they were going to do. But now with SGS, the largest Swiss company that does certifications, validating it, they're putting their reputation on the line. And it's kind of the same thing like Ernst & Young certifying financial statements or whatever, for the corporate world. You trust them because they're putting their name on the line. I think that's really the thing that is going to be the elephant turd slayer, is that you have a major company coming in and saying they actually did what they're going to do. I think that's really the innovation here. And there's no lack of people that want to invest in conservation. They want to do it. They just want to know that it's being done correctly and properly. And I think that's really why Maria Teresa is an ambassador of peace, because she's bringing peace to the environment in one of the largest countries in the world, Brazil.
Right, and just to follow on that, the corruption is one of the things that is typically aligned with crypto. But when we look at what crypto does is having a transparent financial transaction, then if it's done right on the blockchain, then issues like this can actually be minimized and any corruption can be revealed and exposed. And then that accounting instrument, when it's audited by a third party that is like these Swiss organization, which is along the lines of Deloitte and Ernst & Young. Then you have that third-party verification. You have the unalterable, immutable record on the blockchain, and then you have the public transparency. Now, one of the other things, though, that happens is people are stealing money, and that's what you mentioned about corruption. Where does it go? And we all know in crypto, who just got convicted over there in the United States, one of our citizens, the golden boy of crypto. We call him Crypto Fro instead of Crypto Bro, SBF, because of his bad actions. And, this is the kind of thing when you're working with government and with the banks and with the people that want to invest all this money into environmental protection, into initiatives, you get a good thing. But here's what they also want in the private world, in the private sector, and it's not just with crypto, it's with everybody in the private world. They want a return on the investment. They want a return. And I'm not just talking about conservation return. They want to whiff them. Whiff them. What's in it for me? So the guy on the ground who owns the land, right? He's not doing anything with the land. What does he benefit? He owns the land. What does he benefit if some investors are getting ESG carbon credits, or what they're called, CDAs, or what is it called in Brazil? UCS, but it's a type of CPR. So those CPRs as a UCS, they benefit the investors in this unused land. But what about my friend on the ground? What's he going to get?
Ele recebe o dinheiro da compra.
He receives the money from the sales.
Okay, so that's the tokenization piece and the investment piece. So that's when I buy the UCS, so I can benefit as well when it goes up. Is that right?
Está certo?
Olha, eu vou tentar explicar melhor.
I'll try to explain in a very simple way here.
Thank you.
É trabalho. Conservar exige muito trabalho.
Conservation takes a lot of work.
Pega fogo.
Because there's fire.
As pessoas invadem, roubam
People will be
madeira.
invading land and stealing wood sometimes.
E a responsabilidade é quem está na terra.
And the liabilities are placed on the person who owns the land.
Ele virou banco de guarda de valores.
So, in a sense, you can imagine that this landowner is a safekeeper of a wealth that belongs to everyone.
Por isto que ele colhe, ele tem as UCS por ano, que são os benefícios
every year, because those are the benefits
que ele vende por ano.
That they are selling on a yearly basis.
É como se ele tivesse uma lavoura de café.
Imagine that a farmer is going to harvest coffee beans.
A árvore está viva.
So they have the living plants.
Produza o grão de café.
Producing the coffee beans.
Eu colho o café.
I can harvest the coffee.
Guardo no armazém.
Stock in the storage facility.
E vendo para o mercado.
And I sell it in the form of bags to the market.
I love Brazilian coffee too, by the way.
E eu amo o café brasileiro, a propósito.
E a UCS é a mesma coisa.
So the UCS will follows the exact same logic.
Você manteve a árvore em pé.
You keep the trees standing.
Ela fez a produção de serviço ecossistêmico.
And the trees and everything in that area is producing those ecosystemic services.
O BMV vai lá e quantifica.
BMV comes in,
empacota,
assesses the value of this, packages it.
E produz a UCS na terra daquele produtor.
This is how the UCS is produced, linked to the land of that producer specifically.
E aí o dono da terra tem uma quantidade de UCS dele.
So the landowner themselves will have their own quantities of UCS.
Essa quantidade de UCS dele,
so this,
que é token,
this amount that belongs to them, which is a token,
são vendidas na plataforma.
Are sold through the platform.
As empresas, quando compram,
once companies come in and purchase it,
compram a UCS
they buy
desse
the
produtor
UCS that are linked to this producer, and the money will go to their pockets.
Simples assim.
It's as simple as that.
É uma feira.
As simple as that. Fácil, né?
It's
uma feira.
Farmers market.
Great, excellent. Well, we're going to get to in a few minutes. We're going to get to how you can get the UCS token and how you can take advantage of this as a crypto investor, because it's extraordinary. But before we get to that, I'm going to throw in some monkey sauce. And monkey sauce is where we have to switch the direction just a little bit. Okay, the monkey sauce throws it in a different direction. Okay, and I have to introduce our fake sponsor, because of course here on Crypto Mondays Green, we want to be objective and neutral, and so we're not taking any sponsorship directly, but we have fake sponsors. And did you know that 15% of all of the carbon and all of the problems in the atmosphere are not actually caused by carbon, but by methane? And that methane comes from cow burps and cow farts. And so we know in Brazil, they have a lot of cows and they love beef. And so they have a lot of fart-producing cows. Well, I'd like to, so we all have the problem. It's a big issue, methane, and it comes from cow farts. And so our sponsor today is Rodizio Cow Fart Carbon Credit. Because, well, if you don't know what Rodizio is where a Brazilian restaurant where they keep bringing you food and meat and over again until you're too full and you fall over on the table and you get sick. And they say, stop, no more. Well, with Rodizio Cow Fart Carbon Credit, we are actually going to be using every one of those cow farts, and we're going to turn it into a token, and that way you can actually benefit from the cow farts. And there's an unlimited amount of cow farts. We're going to reduce the methane in the atmosphere, and you can get the gas directly at your table. Rodizio cow farts. We bring the gas to your table. Okay. Now,
wow. Translating, that was a whole journey.
So, but on that topic, carbon credits. Why don't I, if I'm a big company, and so we do have representatives of companies that might want to invest in ESG products watching this show. Carbon credits, and I have people on the show that are carbon credits. Toucan, we had Toucan, Refi Dow, other people that are doing this with crypto. Why should I invest in what you're doing instead of carbon credits or Rodizio Calfart carbon credits? How are you better than cow farts?
Quando eu evito o peido de vaca.
When we avoid the cow farts.
Ela come grama.
Because the cows are going to be grazing.
E a floresta está guardando a fumaça da vaca.
Is supposed to be taking away those elements that the cows are going to be putting in the
Só que quando a vaca tem o esterco dela, né? O do elefante lá.
So yes, talking about elephant manure before. Now we're talking about the cows.
Ela está criando condição de nascer gramas.
The cows are also allowing for more grass to be raised there, or other products as well. So that's actually soil coverage. The problem doesn't necessarily rest there with the cows themselves.
Agora vamos mudar.
Now to show how this product actually creates a solution.
O crédito de carbono é uma redução de
carbon credits are a reduction of liabilities, in essence.
A UCS é uma produção de ativos.
And the UCS is about producing assets.
Então, o crédito carbono é uma promessa de reduzir.
Are a future commitment to reduce emissions.
A UCS é a entrega de um produto já existente.
And the UCS is the delivery of an existing product.
Se nós vamos na floresta, medir a floresta,
since we go into the forest and measure the trees,
avaliar cientificamente o valor daquela floresta,
assess the true value of that standing forest.
Eu tenho a comprovação que ela estava viva o ano passado.
I have the full proof that the forest was standing there the year before.
E ela entregou a safra de UCS do ano passado.
You have the harvest of UCS of the previous year. So it's
a UCS, eu vendo um produto existente.
It's selling an existing product, something that has been already delivered in the past.
O crédito de carbono, eu prometo que vou reduzir
the carbon credit is
mal.
A promise of reducing an evil created.
E a UCS, quando ela é comercializada, ela está remunerando um trabalho já feito por uma pessoa.
They are paying back a service that was already delivered by a person in a certain piece of land.
E quando uma empresa está entrando no sistema BMW, no standard BMW,
once a company joins the BMW ecosystem,
ela está também fazendo agricultura de conservar.
They are also promoting an agricultural activity of conservation.
E quando a gente criou o título Cédula de Produto Rural Verde,
when we created this title, which is the CPR, it's the Rural Product Note, the green version of it,
que é registrada inclusive na Bolsa de Valores.
Something that we have indeed listed in the Stock Exchange of Brazil.
Ela a CPR é um título de entregar uma commodity.
A CPR is a title that serves the purpose of delivering a commodity
e a
to
commodity
buyers.
Da conservação é a UCS.
And the conservation commodity is the UCS.
Que é o token do benefício daquela floresta.
Because it is a token that represents the benefits generated by that piece of forest.
Wait. Did I just hear crypto in the stock market?
Cripto e uma bolsa de valores?
Did I just hear that this lady put crypto in the Brazilian stock market to save the planet?
Then bolsa de valores para salvar o planeta.
Oh my God! Oh, see, there we go. We have to call an underdog because she's an underdog. Underdog. Fighting against the big powers that be. And one of the things that's so interesting about this is that it's opposite of what the carbon credits are doing, because you said this is the damage is already done, or that we're preparing to do. And what you're saying is to prevent that. You want to add something to that, Ambassador?
I think you're absolutely right, Josh, that this is pretty revolutionary to be able to put this on the stock market. And what it does is it really democratizes the opportunity for people to invest in conservation in Brazil. And that's pretty revolutionary. I mean, she's a financial genius, okay? And that's really the thing that's really so interesting, is that she brought all this financial expertise and understanding of the legal situation in Brazil and to help write the law that allows for this to be a commodity on the stock market. And that's how you scale. That is how you scale. And I think she's figured this out.
Okay, wow, amazing. And so in contrast to the competitors, who are people that are, like, as you mentioned at one point in a conversation, a race to the bottom of who can get the cheapest carbon credits. I don't know. Can you explain that to us? And I'm going to call in Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous Speed is our character that says, go fast, and give us the short version and the speedy version of what we're talking about here. Help us out, Ambassador.
Josh, I think the interesting thing is I have accompanied this environmental debate, or the development of the environmental market, is there does seem to be a race to the bottom. That people want to offer carbon credits, I'll give it to you for 10. And I said, no, I can do it for 8. And then I can do it for 5. And it's a race to the bottom. And the issue isn't to try and be the cheapest credit. It's to provide the best incentives for people to do the right thing. And so when it comes to the standing forest, you want to incentivize them to keep it that way. And if you just keep paying less and less and less, the temptation to not protect the forest grows and grows. So I think that's why developing a high quality credit like she has done, getting that on the stock market, I mean, that's real. And that's really revolutionary. And merging it together with blockchain and satellite photography and all the technology things that you understand better than I do, I mean, that gives confidence. And this market needs confidence. And I believe that your listenership, your viewership, they understand how technology can help the environment. And I believe that in Brazil, at least from my own experience, that Maria Teresa is the one that's figured out how to bring the two together.
Now, you said now this is scalable. In your opinion, do you think that this is also transferable or replicable in the United States?
I do.
This model?
I do very much, Josh, because what she's done is developed a standard that helps value all these other eco services. You know, it's very popular now to talk about SaaS, software as a service. Well, I know that she talks about environment as a service, is that this is a service that can be provided anywhere. And so if you have a farm or a ranch with 4,000 acres of forest, well, it's providing an environmental service for the rest of us. So I do believe that this is a standard or an approach that can be brought to any country in the world. And I know that Maria Teresa has traveled all over the world, speaking at UN COP conferences and all that, because people are interested in this market-based financial approach that results in real money going to small farmers. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line.
Excellent. So now, there is one last question, you know, that I have, and then if you have any other questions, you know, you're more than welcome to ask. One of the things that you mentioned when we first talked was the amount of hectares that each individual requires for the earth to remain. And yet we're only reaching about half of that. I'm wondering if you can help our audience understand the gravity, the seriousness of this problem through those statistics that you mentioned to me. And then, so that would help.
De acordo com a Global Footprint,
So, according to Global Footprint,
que é estudo realizado por cientistas,
they produce this
patrocinados pelo WWF,
the scientific reports that are sponsored by names like WWF and World Bank.
Eles informam que
They came to the conclusion that
pela população do planeta
if you take into consideration the entire population of the planet,
e a relação da base de consumo das pessoas,
the way that the baseline of the consumption patterns of these people that are on Earth right now,
para que as pessoas tenham bem-estar, elas precisam de 2,8 hectares em média para terem bem-estar.
So for each person, we would need to have 2.8 hectares of protected environment, protected forest for each person on Earth.
Hoje, o planeta só tem 1,6 hectares conservados.
And as of today, we are only able to find 1.6 hectares per person for the entire planet.
Significa que nós já estamos em déficit de 1,2 hectares.
That means that we are already in a deficit of 1.2 hectares. Per person.
Por pessoa.
Exactly.
Por isso que tem regiões que estão
That's why we have regions
com muita água
that have
caindo,
too much water, torrential water coming down.
outras faltando água.
And in others you have terrible droughts.
Essas catástrofes climáticas
And the climate catastrophes.
em função de não ter mais as barreiras dos ventos que vêm de oceano.
Because we don't have like the barriers for ocean wind because the mangroves are gone.
O desequilíbrio de cadeias alimentares.
So entire food supply chains are getting disrupted because of this reality.
Que tudo isso desencadeia na perda das vidas, não só humanas.
And it will all come down to loss of lives, plural, because we're not only talking about human life here.
Então, a responsabilidade é de que a gente tenha que conservar o que tem e ampliar ainda o déficit.
That's why we are committed to the responsibility of, yes, we are protecting what we have right now, but we need to expand. We need to recreate protected areas.
Okay, very interesting, because that's a pretty big gap. And we all know, just like Bitcoin, the earth is a finite resource. And it's going to get more and more valuable as the resources are limited. So what we can conserve, just like we're conserving our Bitcoin, is going to be worth more and more value, especially for those people who invest. Now, how can I invest? If I have money, or if I'm a corporation, or if I'm a crypto investor, how can I get involved here?
Adquirindo as UCS,
by buying the UCS naturally.
UCS. How do I buy the UCS? On the stock market of Brazil?
Você tem um QR Code que você entra na plataforma e adquire essas
You can
UCS.
buy it as simply as opening the QR code that we make available, and you're brought to our platform to buy them.
Também adquirindo a cédula de produto rural,
purchasing the CPRs,
em maiores volumes,
which is the rural product note,
na bolsa.
for larger orders that you go to the stock exchange for.
Entenda que a pequena empresa, que é o nosso maior objetivo, é solucionar essa dor de pequenas empresas.
Our main goal is to focus on the small business owner.
De terem uma prática ESG.
So that they are able to adopt ESG practices.
Elas entram pela plataforma.
So they have a designated platform just for them.
Então é inclusivo, a gente inclui.
In order to make it inclusive, we want to include the small business.
As grandes empresas.
Because large businesses
adquirem na plataforma formal, como a bolsa brasileira.
They will buy in bulk in a formal platform, just as the Brazilian Stock Exchange.
Agora, nós estamos com o objetivo de comercializar os tokens.
Our goal is to trade these tokens
para financiar empresas que utilizam o CS.
In order to provide credit lines to the companies that are using the UCSs.
É assim que a gente vai mudar o modelo econômico.
This is how we're going to create a shift in the economic model.
Porque as empresas, quando elas utilizam a conservar para serem ativos baseados na natureza, que elas já o são.
Just need to organize this space. Once companies acquire credits like this and put into their balance sheets, they themselves become environmental assets. Sim, pode seguir.
E elas, para serem ativos baseados na natureza,
in order to become so,
elas têm que garantir a renovação do recurso que elas tiraram da natureza.
They must guarantee the renewal of the resources that they have taken away from nature due to their normal operations.
E quando elas aderem a este modelo,
so once they adopt a model like this,
elas têm que receber um financiamento.
They should receive financial incentives for doing so.
Porque elas estão entregando o produto delas.
Because they're changing their own products.
Junto com a natureza que ela precisou para processar.
To carry the natural resource and the guarantee of its existence with the product that's being sold.
So the financial incentive has to be higher than it would if they were going to produce coffee, or they were going to cut down the trees. Is that correct? So you want to make the incentives higher for these people to conserve.
Exato.
Exactly.
E acaba que o incentivo, muitas vezes, ele até é equilibrado.
The incentive sometimes will just come to even balance and make them competitive again in the market.
Yeah. Porque as pessoas vão optar por comprar delas.
People will naturally choose to buy from a more responsible company.
Ela vai ter maior escala
this company themselves will be scaling up
de venda
their sales.
Do produto. Elas têm benefícios governamentais.
They have governmental benefits.
Porque estão assumindo a sua responsabilidade.
Because they are taking on their responsibility.
Elas têm o investidor mais disposto.
So investors are even more willing.
Até ganhar um pouco menos.
To give up on a bit of their profit margin.
Para que essa empresa cresça.
Because they know that a company like this needs to grow.
É assim que a gente vai transformar a economia.
This is how we are convincing companies and investors to shift the economy.
O investidor compra o token.
The investor will purchase the token.
Para crescer empresas.
To encourage companies to grow.
Que também produzem UCS.
And those companies are producing UCSs themselves.
Que estão entregando o produto delas.
Because they deliver their regular products, be it like computers or coffee beans.
Mais a renovação do recurso.
And attached to it, you find the guarantee of renewable resources with their products.
So keep this in mind, everybody that's listening here. This is regulated. This is regulated crypto that's audited by the big four. You understand that? And so that's what we're talking about here is an ecosystem of value and a virtuous circle that's happening here. I can see it already. Ambassador, do you have anything else before we close?
Well, I've really enjoyed this time. I want to congratulate Maria Teresa for being an ambassador of peace in a country that I love, in Brazil. And Josh, I want to just commend you and your audience for all that you're doing to bring crypto awareness, crypto science, and methodology to the environment. So CryptoMondays Green, I will become a follower, and I'll join the group here in Denver, and look forward to being associated with you going forward. Thank you so much.
It's a real honor. And so everybody in the link in the description, you will find access to be able to invest in UCS token. You'll find more about Maria Teresa. You'll also find information about this beautiful place in Lisbon, which is, of course, supported by the GOAT, by El Capitan. And we want to invite El Capitan to also invest in this beautiful place right here, which is a refugee art center in the center of Lisbon, his home country of Portugal, just as a side note. We want to thank you to our sponsors, especially Get Smart Token, which is going to help incentivize people to get out of student debt. We want to thank Bound Buddy for coming in. Thanks, Bound Buddy. We love you, Bound Buddy. We also want to thank our fake sponsors, Coke Zero, and of course, CalFart Carbon Credit. Get some. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, Maria Teresa. Thank you, Alex. Guys, have a great, wonderful day, and we'll see you later. See you later, guys. See us at CryptoMondays.io /global/green. Have a great day.